here's a quick tip. So I wanted to go through a very quick little tip about shading. So here I have very rough inked and coloured image of my character Kimmy from my webcomic Toil with Trouble. And one of the first things I want to say is that the style you can do any type of shading you want, whether it's painted or cel shaded or gradiated. As long as you do it in black and white first, you can do this little trick. So I find the most effective way to do shading is kind of get the computer to do it for you in a very sort of sneaky way. So the first thing I need to do is shade this how I'd normally shade. It's a good idea to start with like a mid-tone. And whatever shading you're doing, whether it's nighttime or daytime, the mid-tone will change depending on, and then it's a good idea to keep the other shades kind of close to whatever you're doing. So obviously at nighttime there might be more extreme values. This is like where values knowledge comes into play, but that's not really important too much for this tutorial. So very rough shading. Then what you want to do is make sure all your shading's on one layer, the black and white, and you go to edit, convert brightness to opacity. Now obviously Clip Studio has this, and I think quite a few of the other programs have it as well. You would have to check in your program. It might be called something else, but you'll have to see for yourself. When you hit that and it thinks about it for a second, it converts anything black and white to its opacity. So it can be light turns to really clear, and then the darker the colour was, the stronger the opacity will be. As such, you sort of end up with this very gross looking version of it. But if you keep it locked, you want to have this like locked layer here, and flood fill it with a colour, then suddenly you get like actual full-on shading. Depending on what scene you're doing or what's going on, you can then change it accordingly. So if we like keep this on pink. The other thing is, if you want to add highlights, you can press Control onto the image of the layer with the shading, and then press this one up here, which is invert selection. At first it seems like it doesn't do anything, but if you then select highlight color, you see that it actually fills in the opposite. That's a really ghastly color. Hold on. It kind of looks like this is a total mess. But if you hit these two buttons up here, which is clear and clear outside selected area, so if we do that first, that tones down the highlight, and then if you hit that one, it will get rid of everything outside, so you sort of end up with this very subtle highlight. The benefit of this is you're not then a slave to having to have these layers set to like glow or add or multiply. You can then make them those things if you wanted to give your artwork an extra punch, but you're not forced to end up with those layers, because sometimes those layers can be really problematic. Also, if you then do this and you don't like the way this sort of looks, what you can do is lock both layers. Like you say, like you want to pick each colours individually. What you can do is, so say like I did the hair here, I'd get rid of line art and then select that colour of the hair, and then I'd go back onto the shading layer and I'd flood fill that, and because of that I'm able to individually select the colour. If I show you again with the highlight, and make sure you remove the other two layers, or the highlight and the shadow, just because it's then easier for selection. So if we pick that and we actually want to make it pink, we can then do that. There you go. It looks really odd. Yeah, you can essentially cherry pick which colours you want. So if I wanted to, for whatever reason, make her skin like dark blue shading, and then the highlight like bright green for, if you want, then I can, because I've been able to individually select the colours. She doesn't look very healthy green, does she?